Ladies and gentlemen, I am Yusril and welcome once again to the Tribble Timewarp. It is the 31st of July, give or take for time zones, and welcome to the least time-warped Timewarp ever, because about an hour ago, Laughing Trendy published the patch notes for Holodec's 31st of July update, and it turns out most of this is probably going to be going live in the next 12 hours, so there you go. Anyhow, let's get on to business. Minor things first, as per usual. The duty officer window has had a few tweaks. We now have an R&D summary option on the overview screen that will allow you to jump straight to the R&D window if this tab was too much like hard work. In addition, there is a pin option here. I'm not sure what we're pinning to what, but hey, it's a pretty little icon. Click, 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 click. Anyway. There's also a shortcut here, request more duty officers. I dare say this bar will get more use as it expands. The assignments window has a new view mode. We have the standard full details that we've had ever since 9.5 went live. There's also a minimized version now, which is a nice little throwback to the old system. Candidly, I'd rather have the old system back, but there you go. May as well stop wishing for something I'm not going to get. Details are via mouse over on the various buttons for both requirements and the rewards, and you can just jump straight to planning. It will automatically select the best available officer as per usual, or at least what passes for usual these days. No word as yet that I have seen on whether or not the exchange officer programs have been fixed. I would advise not doing those for the moment. I'm pretty sure I've seen it swallow at least one rare grade duty officer, since that was its default pick, despite the fact that I had switched it over to a, in this case, common grade, because hey, there was no losing on that one. Well, actually, I just accidentally traded a purple for a green, and I am somewhat annoyed about that. The duty officer project selection has got a new filter to it. Obviously, you have show all tasks as per default. Show tasks with met level requirement, that's what we have at the moment. There's a new filter here to show tasks with met requirements. So if you're missing things like specialist duty officers, you can filter those tasks out even though you have the skill for them. That's a kind of handy little feature if your window's getting too crowded. Moving on to the meat of the report today. Lances, ladies and gentlemen, like the Galaxy X and the Javelin, have had their power drain removed. This is kind of overdue. The Spinal Lance's power drain in particular was so severe that it could actually be a net DPS loss under certain circumstances. This is no longer the case. So as you can see, no power drain. You are now free to break out the big guns. Regrettably, the Corps of Engineers have still not fixed the fact that the Galaxy X's barrel is off-center. It should be about 1.5 meters to the right, give or take. The other significant change has been to beam overload. As with the Lances, this used to come with a rather nasty trap penalty. Specifically, it came with a very, very heavy energy drain, and in fact it still refers to it here. Deals massive energy damage, but drains your weapon power. Well, it doesn't do that anymore, and in addition, it's now a 100% chance to crit. Yeah. So, as you can see, dual overload 3, 8.7k, 5.8 DPS, attack will always critically hit, so you can add on your crit severity bonus to that, along with all your other bonuses. It's worth noting that Cryptic have reduced this base number by 25% under the hood. Has it made a difference? No, not really. The reason is that with people no longer having to stack crit chance in PvP to get reliable results, they're now all stacking crit severity. I'll leave it to more experienced tactical drivers and the PvPers to produce hard numbers, and some of them have already done so on the STO forums, but suffice it to say, I'm still seeing numbers of 70k plus being quoted on the boards, and guess what, this is now a reliable one-shot, as opposed to a, well, you might survive the initial pass and then you can do something about it. And if you're wondering how the TAC guys are getting 75k from these kind of numbers, well, let's see. Attack Pattern Alpha, all the various other abilities like Tactical Team, Attack Pattern Beta, Attack Pattern Omega, basically they stack everything, and then they dump out of Cloak with a Bird of Prey. It's not pretty, and it's very not pretty if you're on the receiving end. even as a science officer, not really trying. I've been clocking hits of around about 13 to 15k. But let's see what I can come up with. Right, welcome to the Japori system, ladies and gentlemen. You all know it from many, many hours spent patrolling Taudera. There's usually some Nausicaans to be had here, so let's just start stacking this up. Gentle crawl into range, 125 weapon power. Yes, my gear is off the curve. This is an old build. So, all stop. We will load up Beam Overload 2, Gravity Well, Attack Pattern Beta, which sadly doesn't proc off Gravity Well anymore. Attack Team, Sensor Scan, fires a Death Star. What do we get? 4,605, and we shredded its shields. So yeah, that's going to be what? Can I find it on the combat log? No, that's not happening at all, not with the scrolling. And that wasn't really trying either by DPS standards. I mean, this is a science character. Let's load up Overload again. Attack team in play. Fire. 15,000. Yeah, that's about typical for the numbers I've been getting. Could probably edge it a bit higher with some luck and some better gear. Bear in mind that these are fleet anti-proton arrays, so no crit D on them. You get a triple crit D beam bank and a few other toys. Somebody sat down and worked it out. I think you can scavenge up something like 250% crit severity. So that gives you an idea of the kind of damage we're looking at here. Suffice to say, you can shred quite a lot of people very, very quickly if you're in the mood for it. How do we do this? Well, Beam Overload undoubtedly needed a boost. Nobody was using it simply because the power drain made it unviable. It was a net DPS loss in many circumstances. Oi! My Beam Overload's mine! Boom, 10,000. That was through shields as well. Wow. Okay, so where was it? Oh, yes. How to do this? Well, I think the key thing is going to be to get rid of the 100% crit chance. Take it back to a normal beam attack, but with massively boost base damage and no extra power drain. That gives beam boats a heavy attack, similar to torpedo high yield, but it's not so massively overpowering, and it forces the Vapors in PvP to go back to their crit chance builds and both take the gamble on getting that lucky 1 in 3 dice roll, as well as not being able to pull out massive crit severity at the same time on a guaranteed thing. Have some more beams, you Nausicaan scum. There we go. 1,300 hull damage. Bear in mind that's pure shield bleed through. Yeah, 13,000 again, and with no buffs. This is frankly just a smidge overpowered, Cryptic, I'm sorry to say. And it does raise the question of why you'd roll engineers, because Nadion inversion, which was basically used for countering the drain on Overload and Spinal Lance, that's one of the engineer captain powers if you've never heard of it, is now basically useless, unless you're crashing out of impulse and desperately need to try and get your power back up. But most people do that on a regular firing cycle anyway and don't need it, so hey, why bother? One more, come on. Come on, there we go. Boom, 10,000. Bit of a weak one, but that was only Beam Overload 2. As I say, some fun with Overload 3, high crit severity, and this guaranteed chance with no downside to crit is going to be just a little bit ridiculous in PvP. On the bright side, ladies and gentlemen, the TR-116B has been fixed. It is no longer hilariously bad. It now has 100% shield penetration. That's right. Doesn't care what shields you've got, or indeed if you've got any shields. It just goes straight to your body armor and then to your soft, vulnerable little meat bag organs. Welcome back, Sir Boulevard, ladies and gentlemen. He's happily providing us with a TR-116 test, and apparently got a good result on his gambling device. So with that done, let's go and shoot some Borg, see what we get. If you remember the last video we did on this, it was okay against unshielded targets, and very, very bad against shielded ones. I'm guessing this is Cryptic's fix, they're simply ignoring the shields. So, we'll start with some unshielded drones. Let's see what he gets. Decently heavy sniper shot, and then looks like fairly regular damage. Pop out the Mako Battle Rifle comparison. Adapted! That's a little bit odd. I didn't think I was throwing anything around with phasers. Anyhow, remodulate, and try again. 1, 2, 3, yep. Comparable, maybe slightly behind. But that could easily be explained by random numbers and chance. Now we need something shielded to shoot. Run, 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 run past the Borg invasion. Aha, we've got an elite tactical drone here. Now, the old TR-116 would have struggled heavily against this guy, so we'll just call Boulevard back and then see what he can do against an elite tactical. So, sniper up. Pop 207 straight through the shields. Numbers again are in line, 124 on the crit there, 88, 82. Yeah, that's pretty much the same. The shield penetration is working as advertised. Instant adaptation again. I have no idea what's going on here, but we'll remodulate and just keep rolling. As you can see, I'm struggling against his shields, but that's to be expected. Boulevard's actually taking a few hits, but damage is as you'd expect. TR-116 might have just become worth its purchase price, at least at the cheaper end. I still wouldn't be inclined to regard it as being 150 million. PvP wise, the TR-116's performance is much the same. As you can see, it's going clean through my shields. There are no particular modifiers here. It's doing half damage because I am wearing a Mako Mark 12 suit, so 119 odd kinetic resist to play with. You'll also note that I was able to bring down Sir Boulevard's shields, but he's simply recharging in fairly short order, the perks of being an engineer. Beyond that, I'm having some trouble getting through his shields, but since he's going clean through mine, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. On the other hand, I'm a medic. I can simply heal the damage straight back up, which kind of illustrates one of the problems with 1v1 ground PvP anyway. That said, ambush builds in a TR-116 might well be able to pull some fairly scary stuff. We'll have to see what they can manage. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's not quite time-warped look at the Tribble server. I have been Yusril, and until next time, farewell.